Hey everyone. So really awkward lighting right now, I know. But the thing is, I just finished watching A Christmas Carol, and a few days ago when I finished it, well, actually, technically way back when I made that reading Dickens in chronological order video, as well as Eliot, but anyway, when I made that video, I decided that when I read all of his books, I want to then try and find any adaptations there are of each of those books, except, I don't know, I had certain criteria, I guess, like, I had to be able to find it somewhere to watch it, and also it had to get like a certain rating on IMDb. And I especially did this with A Christmas Carol because there are so many different adaptations. I really did not want to watch every single one of them, so my criteria for watching the adaptations of A Christmas Carol after I read the book were it had to get at least a 6.5 star rating on IMDb, and it had to have over 50 ratings to earn that star rating. For example, if something gets 9 stars, but it's only rated by like 5 people, that's not really a rating that I would trust. So, that was what I did. And so I wrote down all of the adaptations of A Christmas Carol that met those requirements. And then I went in search of each of those. And unfortunately, several of them I'm going to have to try to find online because a lot of them aren't actually going to be on TV. It's kind of shocking to me how few adaptations are actually on TV, at least this year. For example, the one that I just saw is the 1984 George C. Scott one. That and Muppets Christmas Carol seem to be the two adaptations that are on the most this December. I remember when the Alistair Sim one, or Sims, is it Sims or Sim? I remember when that one was on quite frequently, even though I never watched it. And then now, of course, the year that I want to watch it, I can't find it on TV. So that was weird. But anyway, so I looked all those up and I wrote down the ones that are going to be on TV, and I'm going to try to find the ones online that aren't on TV or on one of my subscription services for instant video streaming. And anyway, so this one, the George C. Scott 1984 one, was on TV, and this is considered one of the favorites along with the Alistair Sim one from 1951. And for me personally, of all the adaptations of A Christmas Carol I've ever seen, the Patrick Stewart one is my favorite and has been pretty much since I saw it, even though I've seen other adaptations since then. And after seeing this one, I still agree with that. And I just wanted to talk about my thoughts about this particular adaptation really quickly. Basically, overall, I did enjoy it, and I really liked... Well, okay, I can't exactly say I enjoyed it, because there are certain parts that I just really didn't like, and that kind of made me torn. So I would say like 3 out of 5 stars if I'm gonna star rate this one, because I really liked George C. Scott's portrayal of Scrooge. I was watching a review of the film and a comparison between the book and the film, and the guy I was watching said that George C. Scott does a great job of getting in touch with Scrooge's coldness, but he doesn't do that through shouting like a lot of the other actors who have portrayed Scrooge do. And I agree with that. His words are all usually quiet, but very... You can tell by his tone that he is a very cold man. And I definitely agreed with that and really liked that portrayal. And I also really love the portrayal of Bob Cratchit. And also Fred, too. But I don't remember the name. I want to say the name of the actor who plays Scrooge, not Scrooge, Bob Cratchit is David Warner, I want to say. I don't know. I've seen him in a lot of things recently, but I had never seen him in anything prior to, like, let's say 2000. And so, yeah, he played Bob Cratchit. He was really good. And the guy who played Fred, I think his name was Roger Rees, and he was really cool. I've seen him in some other stuff too. And he actually just passed away in July of this year. So yes, all of the acting was really, really well done. However, the two things that I had a major problem with were the 80s music, because obviously it was done in the 80s, but sometimes, and I feel like this is always with the 80s, they tend to put creepy music where it is unnecessary. Granted, A Christmas Carol is a scary tale, but sometimes 80s music is so, or 80s soundtrack music, I'll say, is so distracting from the film. Like, it's so loud and so in your face that it distracts you from the scene. And that is what I felt every time scary music came on during this film. So, music, no. And also the other thing was the writing. Some of the scenes... Okay, when I found out that this film had extra scenes in it, and even scenes that were in the book, like, okay, it had extra scenes that were in the book that aren't usually in other adaptations, and it also had even more scenes where they took elements of Scrooge's past and took them further, put more emphasis on them. For example, one of the scenes that they showed that was already in the book that isn't usually in other adaptations is everyone usually knows the scene between Ebenezer and his love Belle. That breakup scene, I feel like, is in every adaptation of A Christmas Carol that I've seen. However, there's an extra bit in the book that isn't usually included, and that is Ghost of Christmas Past goes a step further and shows Scrooge not only the breakup scene, but pretty much the life that he could have had if he had stayed with Belle. And it shows Belle with her many children and her husband, who was very loving and wonderful. And they did end up having money, so they weren't poor. I don't think they were as rich as Scrooge, obviously, but they were definitely pretty well off, especially for having that many kids and being able to able to provide for them. And she was happy. But that's a great scene and I love it. But how they portrayed it in this film is they actually had Belle marry Fezziwig, who is Scrooge's old apprentice boss. And it could be that I missed something and it was actually Fezziwig's son, not Fezziwig himself. But either way, I don't remember Fezziwig having a son, but I could be wrong. He may have had a son. All I know is that in the book it mentions 3 daughters, who all have like 2 suitors each. So I remember there being a mention of men, but none of them being Fezziwig's son. So if it's Fezziwig's son, I don't remember him having a son. And if it's Fezziwig himself, he was married and had 3 daughters. So either way, that felt like a drastic deviation, in my opinion. And then the other scene that I don't like, that it was a complete add-in, was after Scrooge's sister Fan comes to the school to pick him up, and she says, "Oh, Father's changed. He's invited you home for Christmas. He's such a different person now, and we miss you, and we want you home." After that scene, Scrooge's dad comes to pick them both up, and there is a cold tension between Scrooge and his father that we knew was there before Fan came and said everything's changed. But the idea that it's still there, even though Fan said that he had changed and said that he was kind now, and that he was letting Ebenezer come home. This seemed like he was doing all of that 100% begrudgingly and wanted to send Scrooge away as soon as possible. Like, he said, "Oh, I've got you a job," and he was like, "and the less you're home, the better." And I was just like, no, because the whole point of that scene is that his father had changed. Like, that was the point. So that scene really bothered me, like, a lot. Like, I was just sitting there like, this is an entirely wrong interpretation of that. And granted, it was an interpretation, which is an opinion, which I feel like it's kind of bad of me to say that that's wrong, because an opinion is an opinion. But it just did not fit with how I read the story and how I read that scene in the book and how I see it in other films. It just completely didn't work. So I'm pretty sure that's all I have to say. So yeah, it's like, I had to give it a 3 because the acting is completely superb, but the writing and the creepy music just made it not a favorite for me. But like I said, the acting was wonderful. I really loved all the portrayals that I discussed, and yeah, I'm really glad that I watched it. And yeah, the 99 is still my favorite. Okay, so I am going to try to watch a few more adaptations of A Christmas Carol before Christmas, a few that I haven't seen, and I'm going to rewatch some that I have seen. And I don't know if I'm going to try to string some of them together and do like a bunch review of some of them, or if I'm going to try to do individual reviews, but either way, this will probably not be the only review that you see, but it kind of depends on how much time I have between now and Christmas. So yeah, anyway, I just needed to talk about that really quickly, although it wasn't quick because it's like 13 minutes into this video now. But yes, thank you for listening to me rant/rave. And yeah, thanks for watching, and please let me know in the comments what you guys think of this adaptation, and please don't hurt me if you don't like my opinion of it. So anyway, thanks guys, and happy holidays. Bye.